On my birthday, Chloe finally said yes to our first trip abroad together. I'd planned it for weeks, tickets, hotels, everything perfect. But just as we were about to board, a message popped up on my phone. Mom's sick. I can't go. And just like that, she left, knowing full well how bad my English was, how lost I'd be without her. That night, sitting alone in a foreign city, I scrolled through my feed and froze. There it was, a post from her childhood friend, Peter. A photo of Chloe, fast asleep on his bed, captioned, "True love is one phone call, and she'll run to me straight from the airport." The comments were blowing up. Everyone was waiting to see how I'd react, the boyfriend she'd left behind. So I gave them something to talk about. I typed, "You're already sleeping in the same bed. Might as well get married, right?" Chloe knew my English was bad. When she'd left me stranded at the airport, I hadn't even been angry, not at first. She said her mom was sick, and I wanted to believe her. I even thought about calling to ask if she needed help. But she never picked up. Then I saw Peter's tweet, and something in me just snapped. We fought, of course. She said the same thing she always did. "Peter and I are just friends. You think everyone's sleeping with each other?" Then she blocked me. Again. So there I was, alone in a foreign country for 15 days, stumbling through broken English and polite smiles that never reached anyone's eyes. But those 2 weeks changed something in me. They forced me to grow, to stand on my own. When she finally unblocked me and said, "I'll pick you up tomorrow," I knew what it meant. In our relationship, she always held the remote, blocking me when she was angry, unblocking me when she decided it was time to forgive. And I, like clockwork, always waited. But not this time. Those 15 days had taught me something. So when I texted back thanks and tossed my phone aside, I felt something new, peace. That night, when her final message came, "See you tomorrow," I just turned off my phone and went to sleep. When I heard the door open, I turned, and there she was. "You're back," she said, pausing mid-step, a frown forming between her brows. For a moment, I couldn't tell what she was angry about. Was it because I hadn't waited up for her like I always did? Because I didn't demand answers about why she'd left me stranded, or accuse her of spending the night with Peter. I just finished work. "I tried calling you. You didn't answer," she said, her voice tense. I checked my phone. Several missed calls. Messages asking where I was. It was almost 1 a.m. Then came her explanation, soft, practiced. Peter had a panic attack from his claustrophobia. He started hurting himself. I couldn't get away, so... "Oh!" I cut her off before she could finish. She froze, then sighed, weary. "I know you're mad, but Peter and I..." "Mad about what?" I laughed quietly, stretched, and walked toward the bedroom. "It's late. I'm tired. Let's talk tomorrow." "Dominic." Her tone sharpened. She hated when I didn't play along. "If you have something to say, just say it. Don't play these games with me." I turned, genuinely confused. "Games? What am I saying?" For once, she didn't have words. Chloe, always sharp, always in control, was suddenly silent. I pulled the blanket back, climbed into bed, and murmured, "Let's sleep. You shouldn't overwork yourself either." Then I closed my eyes. Somewhere between waking and dreaming, I heard the door slam. I knew why she was angry. She had reached out, finally offered peace, and I hadn't taken it. But it didn't matter anymore. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, when I opened the door, the smell of sugar and frosting hit me first. A small cake sat on the table, candles already lit. Chloe was sitting beside it. "Dominic," she said softly. "Happy belated 26th birthday." For a moment, I just blinked. So she did remember. The whole reason I'd planned that trip was for my birthday. "The reason I didn't go with you," she continued, "was because Peter's treatment failed. The doctor said if I didn't stay, he might hurt himself. That night I just collapsed on his bed from exhaustion. It wasn't what you think." I walked up to the table, leaned over the cake, and smiled faintly. "You made this for me?" "Thank you." She froze, unsure how to react. "The candles are already lit," she said softly. I clasped my hands, made a wish for a 6.5 on my IELTS, and blew them out. "Thanks," I said lightly. "First day back home and already getting treated right." Chloe frowned. "Dominic, can you just let me explain?" I smiled gently. "You mean about you and Peter? Don't worry. I'm not jealous anymore." The way she looked at me then, it wasn't anger. It was guilt. Quiet, heavy guilt. After a long pause, she said, "There's a company event tonight. Employees can bring their partners. I was still eating cake when she said it. Huh? I looked up. If this had been before, I would have jumped up, hugged her, kissed her, already picturing how we'd look together in photos. But this time, I just put the fork down. I don't think I can go, I said. I've got plans tonight. Working overtime again? She asked. I nodded vaguely, thinking about my IELTS prep. Then I'll wait for you after work. We can go together. Better not, I said quietly. I really don't feel like going. She froze. I'd never turned down an event before, especially not one where I could stand beside her proudly as her boyfriend. Her brows furrowed. But I'm supposed to bring a +1. I started changing clothes, avoiding her eyes. Things are just hectic lately. I really can't spare the time. A chair scraped across the floor. Then came the sharp sound of her grabbing her coat. Fine, she said flatly. I'll take Peter. The door slammed before I could even respond. I glanced at it once, then went back to getting ready. That night, my overseas assignment was confirmed. My buddy Alex was flying in for a farewell dinner. As I packed my things, my phone buzzed, a special alert. Peter. In the past, I'd set him as a favorite just to keep tabs. Every post, every like, every moment that involved Chloe, but now it just felt tiring. His latest post was a photo from a party, his arm around a woman in an evening gown. Her face wasn't shown, but I didn't need to see it. I knew. It was Chloe. The caption read, "Childhood sweethearts, aren't they practically family?" And there it was, Chloe's name in the likes. In the past, I would have called her immediately, maybe even gone over, desperate to prove I still mattered. But this time, I simply liked the post too, then unfollowed them both. Alex noticed me zoning out. "Don't tell me you're going back home to take care of that woman," he joked. I laughed, turned off my phone, and said, "No way. Tonight your bro's crashing with you." The next morning, for once, I saw missed calls from Chloe. Messages, too. "It's so late. Why didn't you come home?" "I didn't stay long at the party." I stared at the screen for a moment, then put the phone face down. For the first time, I didn't feel the need to reply. Back when things were good, if Chloe came home drunk, I'd be the one waiting. I'd take off her shoes, ease her out of her clothes, feed her soup, clean up the mess, everything. The idea of her coming home to an empty apartment had always felt unthinkable. That night when she texted, I simply replied, "Out with Alex, why?" Her response came much later. Just one word. Nothing. I'd thrown myself into an intensive IELTS prep course. Between work and study, I hadn't been home in days. Then, unexpectedly, Chloe messaged first, "Let's have dinner tonight." There were things between us that had been left hanging for too long, so dinner felt right. A quiet table, 2 plates, maybe the kind of closure we both knew was coming. "Sure," I texted back. "I'll head home after work." Her reply came instantly. "I'll come pick you up." I didn't answer. Lisa had called me in to finalize details about the overseas assignment. By the time I left the office, the sun was dipping low behind the skyline. At 5:30, another message buzzed in. "I'm downstairs at your office." I packed up quickly and went down, only to find the sidewalk empty. No car. After a few minutes, she finally pulled up from the opposite side of the street. "Did your office move?" she asked, rolling down her window. "Yeah," I said simply. It had moved a long time ago, but she hadn't picked me up in so long she didn't even know. Once I'd tried telling her about these changes. She'd snapped, "You're a grown man. Can't even find your own way home? I pick Peter up because he's sick. Stop comparing yourself to someone with a medical condition." After that, I stopped asking her for rides. I didn't want her thinking I was hinting again. I started to open the back door, but she stopped me. "Dominic," she said softly. I looked up. "Yeah?" Her hand froze on the passenger side door. She looked uncomfortable. "Why are you sitting back there?" I hesitated. "The front seat, Peter's seat. Always. His claustrophobia," she said, made it unbearable for him to sit anywhere else. I'd argued about it once. She'd thrown a glass, furious. "Why are you fighting a sick person over something so petty? You just want me to admit there's something going on between us, don't you?" We didn't speak for a month after that. Since then, I'd learned to let it go. "Oh, just a habit," I said quietly. "I'll sit here." "No," she blurted. Her tone wavered. "Please, sit here instead." I blinked, surprised. "Okay, sure." I kept my tone light, as if we were just co-workers catching a ride after work. But when I sat down beside her, I could feel her eyes on me the whole time. Inside the car, silence filled the air. Normally, I'd be the one trying to fill it, with small talk, jokes, anything. But now I just leaned back and closed my eyes. Then her phone buzzed. Ding ding, I opened my eyes. Her wallpaper was still a photo of us together. The caller ID flashed a familiar name, Peter. She declined it instantly. A few seconds later, the phone buzzed again, insistent, shrill. Her thumb hovered over the decline button this time. I reached over, picked up the phone, and answered it before she could. Then I handed it to her. On the other end, Peter's voice trembled. Chloe, my claustrophobia is acting up again. I can't find my house keys, I can't get out. Please, come help me. Chloe froze, eyes flicking to mine. I'll send someone else to you, okay? But Peter's voice grew urgent. No, Chloe, only you. I don't trust anyone else. She looked at me again, as if waiting for permission. But she didn't need to ask. I already knew how this story went. Every time she came to pick me up, one call from Peter, and she'd go. No hesitation. And if I ever protested, she'd lose patience. You're only a few blocks from home. Peter might not even find his way to his door. We grew up together. Helping each other is normal. You're fine. Why are you so jealous? The worst was that night long ago, 1 a.m., after a fight. She'd driven off to see him, leaving me walking home alone through the dark. I'd never felt colder. Now, as she waited for me to react, I just smiled faintly. It's fine. Just drop me at the next intersection. She frowned. Forget it. I'll drop you off at home first. No need, I said gently. It's only a few blocks. I'll stop by the supermarket anyway. Something flickered across her face, hesitation, maybe regret. She stopped at the supermarket entrance. Just as I opened the door, she grabbed my hand. I'll come home for dinner tonight. I blinked. All right. I'll make enough for both of us. I gave a small smile, slipped my hand free, and stepped out. Dominic! She called after me, her voice unsteady. I'm sorry. I turned back, smiled softly. It's okay. He's sick. Go take care of him. And then I walked inside. That night, I made dinner for 2. The table was set, the food still warm. But by 7:30, the chair across from me sat empty. I stared at it for a long while, then quietly started to eat alone. Unlike before, I didn't wait for her that night. I picked up my chopsticks and started eating alone. By the time I finished, she still wasn't home. No messages. No updates. Just silence. Usually, whenever Peter called her over, he'd post something online. A photo, a lyric, anything. But this time, nothing. Maybe he finally learned to keep things quiet. I cleared my dishes, washed them, then wrapped her untouched portion in plastic and slid it into the fridge. After that, I went into the study and finished 2 full IELTS practice tests. When I finally looked up, the clock was already past midnight. Time always flew when I was focused on myself. For once, hours passed without me thinking about Chloe, and honestly, that felt good. My head was clear. My goals were mine again. Maybe that's what real happiness is, not depending on anyone else to give it to you. I didn't wonder when she'd be home. I just left a sticky note on the table. Food's in the fridge. Then I went to bed. The next morning, she still hadn't come back. The note sat exactly where I'd left it, untouched. I shrugged it off, got ready, and left for work. The morning flew by, meetings, emails, syncing with our overseas team in Yemen. I didn't even realize how many calls I'd missed from her until lunchtime. Just as I saw them, my phone rang again. It was her. Her voice was sharp, anxious. Why weren't you answering your phone? That tone, the panic, the edge, it used to be mine. But this time I felt nothing. I was busy this morning, I said, calm as ever. What's up? There was a pause. Then softly, nothing. It's just... Last night Peter's condition got worse. I didn't have time to tell you. I laughed, light but cold. That's all? Don't worry. I understand. You don't have to... Explain, I'm not upset. Maybe it was just me, but ever since I stopped reacting, she'd started getting uneasy, like she didn't know how to read me anymore. Really? You're not upset? She asked. No, I said. I understand. A coworker called me for lunch, so I added, I've got to go eat now. Anything else? She hesitated. Her voice softened, almost trembling. Well, last night was my fault. Let me cook dinner tonight. I'll pick you up after work, okay? I thought I'd misheard her. Cooking? She'd never cooked for me. Not once. When Peter had one of his panic episodes, she'd rush over, make porridge for him, and stay until he calmed down. But when I got sick, she'd frown and say, "You cook so well, can't even make porridge for yourself?" Back then, I told her, "It's not about the porridge. It's about the fact that you cook for him but never for me." She always brushed it off. What does it matter who makes it? You still eat, don't you? But it did matter. It mattered a lot. In the past, if she'd offered to cook for me or come pick me up, I would have been thrilled. But now, I just felt nothing. All I could think about was how I wouldn't be able to study if she was home, so I lied. "I've got a team dinner tonight. Won't be coming home." She went quiet for a second, then asked, "Are there women on your team?" I almost laughed. Last month, she went on a 3-day trip with Peter for his birthday. When I got upset, she snapped, "It's not like we went alone, a few of us just went to celebrate. And even if it was just the two of us, our families have known each other for decades. That's not crossing a line." She hated it when I questioned her, but now she was doing the same thing. "Men and women both," I replied. "Why?" Her voice cracked slightly. "It's nothing, just take care of yourself." "Thanks," I said. "You too." Of course, the team dinner was a lie. I just wanted more time to study. I stayed at the office until 11, when security finally told me to leave. As I stepped outside and opened the ride app, a car pulled up. Chloe was standing in front of it, eyes red, makeup slightly smudged. "How was the team dinner?" she asked. "It was good," I said automatically. She tried to smile, but her voice trembled. "There wasn't a dinner, was there?" I tried to keep my face steady. "No, there was. It just ended early." "Dominic," she said quietly. "I've been downstairs since 6:30. I saw your coworkers leaving. They told me there was no dinner tonight." I froze. "You've been here since 6:30? Why?" Her eyes were glassy now. "Dominic, did you forget what day it is?" My mind went blank. My first thought was, 10 days until the IELTS exam. She stared at me, voice breaking. "Today is my birthday." I blinked, guilt hitting me like a wave. "Oh no, I'm so sorry. That's my fault. Let's go home and we'll celebrate right now." But she didn't move. She just stood there, red-eyed, looking straight at me. I had never forgotten her birthday before. Last year, I planned everything. The surprise party, the ring hidden in the rose, the moment I'd ask her to marry me. Everyone was there. Everyone knew. But she never showed up. Midnight came and people started leaving, offering awkward smiles and pity I didn't ask for. When I called her, her voice was calm, almost bored. "Watching the ocean with Peter," she said. "What's up?" I clenched my fists. "Did you forget it's your birthday today?" "Oh, I totally forgot," she laughed. "So what?" "Why didn't you come home?" I asked. "Shouldn't I be the one celebrating with you?" Her voice turned impatient. "It's just a birthday, Dominic." "Why are you making such a big deal out of it?" "I'm exhausted, Chloe. I don't want to fight." My voice shook a little. "I planned a whole surprise. Our friends are all here. Did I ask you to do that?" She cut me off, her voice cold. "It's just a birthday, Dominic. Stop being so dramatic. Is it going to kill me if I don't celebrate?" I bit my lip. "Are you with Peter right now?" Before she could answer, I heard his voice in the background, mocking, careless. "Oh great, Dominic's throwing a tantrum again." Chloe sighed. "Ugh, he's so annoying," she muttered, still on speaker. "All he does is ask where I am." Then, as if she remembered I was still there, her tone turned sharp again. "Call off the surprise or whatever. What's the point? I'm your girlfriend, not your property. Who I celebrate with, where I go, that's my choice. Stop being so clingy, okay?" And just like that, she hung up. The room went dead silent except for that flat, cold beep, beep. From the phone, everyone had heard everything. And just before the line cut, barely audible, she'd sighed, "God, so annoying." Now, standing in front of me, Chloe grabbed my wrist. "Dominic, did you really forget my birthday?" I exhaled slowly. "It's just a birthday," I said softly. "It's not like you're losing a limb." Her eyes widened, the words hitting harder than I meant them to. Her hand trembled against mine. And right there I realized it was ending. Whatever this was, it was nearing its finish line. Still, I didn't want to ruin her birthday on top of everything else. Every relationship, no matter how broken, deserves a decent ending. I forced a gentle smile. "The day's not over yet, right? We can still make up for it. Let's not fight. I'll grab some groceries, we'll cook at home. She looked at me uncertain. You're not mad? I chuckled lightly. No, I was too suspicious before. I won't get upset anymore. She stared at me, unsure if she should be relieved or afraid. You like sweet and sour ribs, right? I said. It's your birthday, you shouldn't cook. Come on, the supermarket's still open. I took her hand and led her toward the car. Slowly, her shoulders eased. Dominic, in the past, Shh. I raised a finger to my lips. It's your day. Let's not dig up the past. As we drove, we passed a liquor and tobacco shop. I asked her to pull over. A few minutes later, I came out holding 2 packs. I opened one and handed her a cigarette. It's your birthday, I said quietly. Go ahead. I won't say anything this time. She froze. I'd always hated her smoking, told her it was bad for her, that she didn't need it. At first, she'd listened, but later she'd snap, Peter doesn't nag me like you do. Why do you always care so much? Now she just stared at the cigarette in my hand, then at me, eyes full of confusion. Why are you being so nice to me all of a sudden? It's your birthday, I said with a small smile. But we try to smoke less. It's bad for your health. What I didn't say was the truth. We're about to end. But not today. Not on her birthday. She took the cigarette quietly. We bought the groceries and went home. The second the door opened, a blur of movement rushed from the hallway. Ah, surprise! Peter shouted, wrapping his arms around Chloe. I came to celebrate your birthday. Bet you didn't expect this. Chloe froze, pushing him off quickly, eyes wide with panic as she looked at me. Peter knew the passcode. She once told me he lived alone and had health issues, so I'd let it go. After all, the apartment was hers, gifted by her family. I'd learned to pick my battles. But when I saw the small ring box in his hand, I paused. Then I smiled, polite, composed. Guests are guests, I said. We've got enough food. Let's all eat together. Chloe chased me into the kitchen, flustered. I'll help. It's your birthday, I said gently, nudging her back toward the table. Why are you working? She stopped at the doorway, her expression wounded. Peter followed her in, holding out a small box. Chloe, I got you a present. That's when it hit me. I hadn't. Not this year. During dinner, Peter sat right next to her. Chloe subtly motioned for me to sit beside her, but I shook my head. No need, I said calmly. You two are childhood sweethearts. Sit together. Peter smirked and slid back beside her. He picked up a piece of fish, removed the bones carefully, and placed it into her bowl. Here, Chloe, you love this kind of fish. Though honestly, it should have been deboned before cooking. Remember last time it got stuck in your throat? Dominic, maybe next time don't buy this kind. She doesn't like the texture. When I made it for her, can you shut up already? Chloe snapped. Peter froze, shocked. She had never defended me before. Why are you criticizing the food my boyfriend made? She said sharply. If you don't like it, you can leave. Peter blinked at her, lost for words. I gave a small smile. It's fine. I won't make it for her again. I picked up the piece of fish and ate it myself. Maybe I wouldn't make it for her anymore, but I still liked it. And that was enough. Peter frowned, grabbed a rib, took a bite, then spat it out. Why do these taste sour? Is the meat even fresh? Then, like a child looking for validation, he held the bitten piece to Chloe's mouth. Here, try it. Doesn't it taste weird? Or is it just me? Smack, the rib hit the table. Peter stared at her in disbelief. Get out. Chloe's voice was cold, sharp enough to slice through the tension in the room. Peter blinked, stunned. What did you just say? I said get out. He stood up so fast the chair screeched across the floor. Chloe, do you even know what you're saying? Do I need to show you the door myself? Peter's eyes turned red, and in one violent motion, he yanked the chair back and stormed out. The front door slammed hard, so hard the walls trembled. Those two, childhood sweethearts. Even their fights had rhythm, both always dramatic, both always ending with a door slam. A long silence followed. Chloe sat beside me, her expression softening. He's just spoiled by his family, she murmured. Don't be mad. I forced a small smile. It's all right. A knock broke the silence. Chloe frowned, already half rising. I'll tell him to leave. Wait, I said, stopping her gently. It's probably the gift I ordered for you. Her eyes brightened a little. I opened the door, took the bag from the delivery guy, and handed it to her. Happy 25th birthday, Chloe. Inside the bag was a small red velvet box. For a second, there was genuine happiness in her eyes, until she opened it. The moment she saw the diamond ring, her expression shifted, the warmth draining away. "What's this supposed to mean?" she whispered. "It's a ring," I said quietly. "Didn't you compliment this design before?" It wasn't easy to find. I had to ask the jeweler to hold it for me. "Don't you like it?" But instead of smiling, she grabbed my wrist. "Why would you get me this?" "Don't you know Peter has the exact same one?" I froze. Back when Peter had shown her that ring, he'd asked if it looked good on him. She'd said yes, admired the craftsmanship even. I smiled faintly. "I didn't know that back then. I just thought you liked the design." Her hand trembled. I took it gently and led her to the bedroom. From the drawer beside her desk, the one she always kept locked, I pulled out another small red velvet box. The fabric was old and faded, like something time itself had worn down. Her face went pale. I opened it slowly, my throat tightening. Inside was another ring, same design, same pattern, except this one had missing stones, scratches, years of wear. "You always kept that drawer locked," I said quietly. I thought it was for important documents. But when the drawer broke, the repairman found this and told me. For 5 years, I'd swallowed my pride, pretended not to notice the cracks. But in that moment, everything I'd buried came rushing out. "Chloe," I said softly. "That's when I found out Peter's ring is part of a couple's set." Her eyes flickered with panic. "No! Dominic, I just forgot about it. He gave it to me a long time ago. I liked it back then, yes, but I didn't know it was a couple's ring. That was before us. Later, I just didn't want you to misunderstand. That's why I locked it away. It didn't mean anything." I shook my head slowly. "But when he asked if it looked nice, you said yes." She hesitated. "He's sick, Dominic. I didn't want to upset him. His parents have done so much for me, I laughed softly. Not cruelly, just tired. I put the ring back in its box and smiled. "Okay, let's eat." "Dominic," she whispered, panic creeping into her voice. I turned back to her, still smiling, calm as ever. "Don't make a scene. Be good, let's eat. I have something I want to tell you tomorrow." I barely made it a few steps before she threw herself into my arms. It startled me. In 5 years together, she hadn't hugged me like that since the early days, when everything still felt new. She buried her face in my chest. "Dominic, please don't be like this. Be mad at me, okay? Yell at me, anything. I know I messed up. Please don't treat me like I don't exist." I chuckled softly. "I'm not mad, really." But she held me tighter. "Is it because of Peter? I won't see him anymore, I promise. I'll even ask his parents to look after him. I'll change our door code if I have to. From now on, it's just you, no one else." I stayed quiet for a long moment, then sighed. "Chloe," I said gently, "see? You do know what you did wrong." Her hands trembled. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me, just this once." I patted her back softly. "Be good, let's eat. This is the last meal I'll ever cook for you." Just then, her phone rang. The sound cut through the air like glass shattering. She grabbed it instantly. After a few rushed words, she threw on her coat. "Something urgent came up at work. I'll be back soon," she said quickly. Before I could answer, she leaned in and kissed me, hard, almost desperate. "Wait for me." And then she was gone. What she didn't know was that I'd seen the caller ID. It wasn't the company. It was Peter. She never came back after that night. Not a single message. But strangely, her WeChat feed, something she rarely touched, started lighting up every day. Day 1, a post about a fight with Peter. Day 2, a photo of her working late.
Day 3, pictures from our college days, captioned, "Missing the Past."
I started wondering if those updates were only visible to me. But honestly, what was the point? I sent her one message. "We need to talk in person." No reply. Maybe she thought ignoring me could delay the inevitable. In reality, when one person stops wanting to talk, that's the moment a relationship ends. All those talks about meeting in person, needing closure, they're just courtesies, final acts of politeness before the curtain falls. Closure isn't something you're given. It's something you decide for yourself. Chloe never came home after that night. Not a message. Not a call. So I packed quietly. The apartment was hers. I didn't want to leave behind even a trace of myself. I folded my clothes neatly, wiped down the counters, and put every object back where it used to be, like I had never lived there at all. Around that same time my IELTS results came in, I'd passed. Soon I'd be leaving this place and everything tied to it. Before my flight, my coworkers threw me a big farewell party. Everyone laughed, toasted, and for the first time in a while, I felt light. Maybe too light. I drank more than I should have. And in their well-meaning blur of celebration, one of them, unaware of what had happened, called Chloe. When the night ended, my coworkers helped me outside, half carrying me toward the car. That's when I collapsed, right into a soft, familiar embrace. It was Chloe. She steadied me instantly, thanking them politely. "Thank you for taking care of him," she said, her tone gentle, composed. One of my coworkers laughed and said, "No wonder Dominic doesn't want to go to Yemen. He's got someone who really cares about him here." In that moment, I felt Chloe's grip on my arm tighten, her fingers digging slightly into my sleeve. I didn't want her to start asking questions right there, so I let my head drop and slurred deliberately, "Chloe, let's go. I'm so tired." Her shoulders relaxed a little. Distracted, she nodded and helped me into the car. She buckled my seatbelt carefully like she always used to. The drive was quiet, too quiet. Her hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly the veins stood out on her skin. Finally, she asked, "What did they mean by that?" I leaned my head against the window, letting out a sigh. "There's a project in Yemen," I said flatly. "The company needs me to go." She kept her eyes on the road. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. "For how long?" 2 years. The silence stretched again before she whispered almost to herself, 2 years. That's not so long. I can wait." I turned to look at her, confused. Wait for what? She suddenly pulled over, the tires crunching against the curb. Then she reached into her bag and took out a small red velvet box. Under the soft streetlight, her hands were trembling as she opened it. Inside was a man's diamond ring, completely different from the one I'd given her before. Her eyes glistened, filled with a mix of fear, guilt, and hope. "Dominic," she said, voice barely steady, "let's get married. I'm proposing to you." For a long time, I just stared at the ring. Then out of nowhere, I laughed. "Chloe, did you know that last year on your birthday, I hid a ring just like that inside your cake?" I paused, a bitter smile tugging at my lips. Though mine was the women's version. Her face went pale. I kept laughing, quietly at first, then harder until my eyes stung. "Look at us, Chloe. Our taste is so perfectly matched it's almost poetic." Too bad. We ran out of time. "Dominic, no," she said, grabbing my wrist, tears flooding her eyes. "It's not too late. It's not too late for us. I'll wait for you. 3 years, 5 years, however long it takes. As long as you come back, we'll get married, okay? If you're willing, we can even—" "Chloe." I gently pulled my hand away. My voice was calm, too calm. "We already broke up." She froze. The color drained from her face, her hand suspended in midair, too stunned to even fall. "Chloe," I said softly, "we've been together for 5 years. And in those 5 years, I built a lot of unrealistic dreams around us. I know it's been exhausting for both of us. After tonight, you're free." Her tears fell faster now, her voice breaking. "No, they weren't dreams. They were real. They were our future." I smiled, faint and tired. "We don't have a future to get